How the hell y'all feeling right now?
Yo, this is Neville Gallimore from the Dallas Cowboys, and I want to give a major shout out to Mike Tag. Keep bringing the hype to the Cowboys Nation. We love and appreciate it. Now, can you dig it?
What is up, Cowboys Nation? Your boy Mike Tag here. It's going to be Cowboys talk, but just before we get rolling, man, just make sure you hit that like, subscribe, share, all that kind of good stuff before I forget. So if you're joining in, but hey, just want to give thoughts and prayers with Jimmy D and his family. He cannot be on the show today. His father-in-law passed away, and definitely got to be with his family. So just want to get that out of the way. We're thinking of you, Jimmy, and unfortunately, I think your Falcons lost. I'll be honest with you, I can't remember, but I think they lost or had a bye, one or the other. Hopefully, it was just a bye, but definitely thinking of you, brother. Hope everything is good. So, hey, we have got a good show. We got a great guest because we're going to get some Cowboys talk on. But I just want to give a quick recap and give a special thanks to everybody that made this weekend so awesome. It's just the tailgate was top notch. Got to see so many Cowboy fans and Cowboys Nation. There's too many names. I'll forget somebody, so I apologize. But you guys know who you were. You guys know who you showed out. And a lot of people even said, "Hey, Mike, man, thanks for the tailgate." It wasn't me. My man Doug. He did everything. He was on the grill. He was doing. He set everything up. Got the drinks and all that kind of good stuff. So him and his family treated me like family. So I love him to death and love his family and had a blast. And of course, when the Cowboys win, it makes it even a little bit better. But it definitely was a good time and looking to do it again because I found out Carolina, we're playing in Carolina next year. So we might have to make that a Cowboys Cave road trip tailgate. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But your boy, I never go solo, and I'm going to get in the chat. I see you guys jumping in there. But I want to make sure I bring out my special guest. You guys know him all the time. He's been coming into the cave. He's trying to make my Cowboys cave look like crap because his is so sweet. But he's a great friend and friend of the show, and he's always down for a fun time talking Cowboys and Canes. But my man Greg, how you doing today, sir?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Oh, doing good after a win. We always do good after a win. And let me just real quick, we'll give a shout out to everyone. Let me see it run down the list. We got Doc, we got Mark's in the house. Troy, definitely going to see you. We will be there representing with the Eagles. Steve, what's up? Cuts by Jones. I want to give a quick update. Eugene Lockhart photos. I just sold the last of them. So we sold all the photos. Thank you so much for the donations that's going to the turkey drive. And then also the custom signed cut that we have. We had a very generous donation so far. So I'm not sure if anyone's going to beat the $200, but if not, that is going to be going to someone who well deserves it. So we are going to be we'll be finalizing that. But more importantly, we're doing our giveaway for our subscriber goal tomorrow. You're going to have K9 in the house. You're going to have the fantasy football crew might be popping in, might be a big party, and we're going to be raffling that off. And of course, talking a ton of Cowboys as we get ready for the Washington. God, I always want to say Redskins, Greg.
Yeah, I do too, man. I've been saying it all week.
Yeah, I got to get out of that habit. Maybe they'll go back to it. But Greg, how you feeling? I love having you on the show. I don't know if you want to tell everyone where they can find you. They should know by now. You're all over the place on TikTok and now on Twitter and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm mainly on TikTok, Gregory Gerard 146. I like to do a pregame video, all suited up in the uniform of the day, and I get hyped in the room watching the game because that's just the way I like to watch it, and have a good time. But I'm feeling real good. This Carolina game just made my weekend just solid. I mean, It was solid. I was happy, just a teeny bit nervous in the first half. But right after that, man, it was just sitting back. And, it's just, you get that nice ice cream cone. You just sit back like, it was just beautiful. It was great.
I said I want to, whenever I go to these games and you play a team like this that you're supposed to dominate, I'm more nervous than if we're playing Philly or playing San Francisco because I just don't want to get embarrassed. It's a road game. It's a bad walk out of the stadium. Like I was telling some Panther fans, we got everything to lose. You're playing with, the Panthers are playing with house money. If they beat us, it's the end of the world. If we beat them, I mean, what are we really going to say? Yeah, we beat you. Now you're 1-10 or 1-9 or whatever it is. So these games always make me nervous. So going in, I had the butterflies a little bit, and I kept telling Doug, who I was with, I just want to get up 2 touchdowns. I know 2 touchdowns, they're not going to come back, but they started slow. What was your thoughts, watching from home? Because I always like the different perspective. I'm at the stadium. I can't get the good feel of how they look on the field because every play just happens quickly without replay. But what was your thoughts of them coming out? Did they just look a little not with it?
Yeah, when they came out that first series for Carolina, they just drove down the field running. And I said, okay, that's the first drive. The Cowboys, they're trying to get loose, just come out the locker room. That second drive, they'll slow them down. And in the second drive, I noticed Carolina kept doing the same thing, running. I'm like, okay, come on now, Quinn. It's time to adjust. These guys can run. Bryce Young is looking pretty decent. He's getting handshakes on the sideline. Don't let this be the game that Bryce Young shows what he has. And then next thing I know, we get the ball and it's 3 and out. And I'm like, okay, guys, this is not the Cardinals. You knew what happened in that game. Let's get this together. And then we score. And I'm like, okay, here we go. I get a sigh of relief. And next thing you know, it's 10 and it's 10-3. And then all of a sudden with 17, then it's 17-10 and a half. And I said, I know good and well, we are not going to play this game to the fourth quarter like this. They're going to adjust at halftime on that run, going to come out and playing. And what I expected is what they did. They came out that second half and took control. Yeah. They took control. And once they took control, and then I saw Bland get that interception and take it in his own. You should have seen me in here, man. You my wife came in here taking pictures of me. You should have seen me. That's all I needed right there. And I knew the rest of the game was going to be cruising, finessing, watching everybody get opportunity to play, and it turned out perfect. And then they did slow down the running game. They did capture them. They got a little desperate, and next thing you know, they folded like they typically do.
Yeah. No, I think, to your point, started off slow. They were doing just odd things like the wildcat. I mean, I've never seen them do a wildcat. And then they were just some of the plays. It seemed like they were playing everything underneath, very, kind of conservative, just like they were going through the motions a little bit. You know what I mean? It just felt like that kind of game. And, finally, once they got going and once, I felt better. But when Bland got the pick 6, I mean, it was funny because Kelly, that was one of his what do they call that? The hot take. What do they call it? Like the big moment that when you call out. I had Pollard going for 150. He had Bland getting 2 pick 6s, so he was halfway there. I wasn't halfway there with Pollard. He still, I don't think, only had like 60 yards, but he did run a little bit better than before. But I mean, talk about Bland, and definitely in the chat. I mean, this guy, we talked about it before we jumped on the air. I mean, you're talking about a 6th-round draft pick. He has been last year's rookie season with the 5 picks, and he just had a knack for the end zone, returning them for touchdowns. Now he's got 4. He ties an NFL record. I think he's gonna. I don't know. I think he's got another pick 6 in him.
Oh, he's got a few pick 6 in him. And here's the thing about Bland, and understand where I'm going with this now. You almost forgot about Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah.
Because of Bland. And Bland has stepped in and stepped up. When that next man mentality was created, he's the epitome of it. And he takes those chances just like Trayvon. Trayvon doesn't sit back and wait for the ball to come to him. Trayvon to be that acrobat and go get the ball. That's what Bland does. And Bland was taking over that game on the defensive back, and it was inspiring the rest, the safeties, the cornerback. It was inspiring them because of what Bland is doing. Because previous years, when that number 1 safety or corner is gone, and all of a sudden they start hitting on us in that safety in the back. The rest of the backfield start looking at each other kind of crazy, and they kind of fold. Now they don't. Now they're all hyped. Now they're playing together. They see what Bland's doing, and they over here like, man, I better step my game up too, man. I got to step it up. And Bland just takes charge. I mean, he takes charge. If Trayvon Diggs had to go down, I don't think anybody in Cowboys Nation expected another person back there to step up like Trayvon. We knew the team was going to try to hold the offenses to bay back there, but nobody expected what Deron Bland is doing right now. Nobody expected that, but it is a welcoming surprise.
No, it is. And really, I mean, one of the other things I saw, which, you know, obviously we only held him to 120 yards rushing or passing, and Thielen was the only guy. It was like, no, I like another guy on their team had like 20 yards. So it was definitely, the secondary was good, but you hear the whispers with, I don't know. And again, it's all media attention with Micah Parsons. Let me find I gotta get my eyes better. Oh, we're going to talk about Jimmy in a minute. Let me see here. Micah Parsons. There he is. Micah Parsons. People saying, hey, man, he's not getting it. He's not doing this. He's not doing that, man. He annihilated them. Now, their offensive line is terrible. We got 7 sacks. Probably could have got 15. But, I mean, did Micah silence? I don't know how there could be critics. I mean, people just put him on such a high pedestal. They expect him to get 30 sacks in a season. But he gets 2.5 sacks. Could have easily been 3. Obviously, one of them they shared, but he was there. Tank got a sack. I mean, Armstrong got a sack. I think Sam Williams, got a sack. Everyone was joining that party.
Yeah. And, you know, Parsons was sick. He was also sick in that game. You know,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he threw up on the sideline. And the sideline reporter reported it. He was sick on the sideline. So once they said that, I started watching him. And you can look at his eyes, and maybe because you heard it, you start looking deeper. You can look in his eyes and tell he's still putting it all on the field. You know, he's not going to make an excuse of that, but he still got 2.5 sacks, and he still made a difference on that defense, and he always does. But he's going to get praise, of course, when he's doing well, but he also gets criticism because he's a Cowboy. If he was on any other team, you wouldn't hear the criticism. You'd always hear, oh, he's going to be the next Lawrence Taylor, blah, 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 and it'll continue. But because he's on the Cowboys and the fact that he defended Dak in the media, put everybody out, all the analysts on notice. So now they want to start punching holes at Micah. But one thing about Micah, he's that kind of kid that doesn't get caught up in what they say about him.
Yeah.
When he's on that field, he forgets all that. He's not playing for the media. He's not playing for anybody. He's playing for the Dallas Cowboys. So we don't have to worry about him doing a long press conference later talking about how they attack him. He's just not going to go there. He'll defend Dak versus his teammates, but he's not going to go there by himself.
Yeah. Well, I guess I wasn't there. Again, I was at the game, but they said people in chat said he took some C4 energy powder drink or something like that. And obviously it didn't sit too well with him. But yeah, whenever you puke, I don't know about you guys, but when I puke, I'm not the same.
No, nobody is.
Athlete. Usually I'm drunk, so that's probably why. But it's definitely it's awesome to see him. And I was talking to someone, and they're like, "Oh, well, Tank, he's not having as big a Tank isn't. He's not going to fill the stat sheet with sacks. I think this is one of Tank's best years. I think it's a Pro Bowl year for him, and he's been one of the solid guys on the defensive line." With with stopping the run. I know they didn't do a ton of it there, but I mean, he's always made a presence, and he usually has a big hit early on to really get things going. I think back to the Eagles game last year when he had that big hit, or maybe it was this year maybe it was the Giants. Remember that one was like first play, he freaking annihilated the running back. And but I love Tank. I love the defensive line. The linebackers, LVE's out for the year pretty much. Probably his career is over, but you're seeing these young guys, right? Marquise Bell and you're getting all these guys. Clark has been playing better and better. You're getting all Mozzie. I don't know how he did. I have to ask your opinion, but the last game I watched, he was all over the place. I don't know how he did this game. They ran for a lot of yards. So I don't know if he was at fault for it, but you're getting a lot of these young guys getting going at the right time. Now we get into that Thanksgiving where that stretch goes. So how confident are you with this defensive group being at a championship level?
Well, I'm confident, but I got two concerns because every team that we're going to play is watching that game film. And the two concerns were, to me, it seemed like we waited late, if we did at all, to adjust to their run game because they were running the ball down our throats. Their average, I don't know how many yards per average they got, but
it was like
running,
7 yards. There was a guy behind us. All he kept saying was Chumba. They were screaming at two guys behind us. That's all they were doing, like Moose. They were doing Chumba. Right. And I mean, they were having fun with it, but they were moving the ball on us.
Yeah, they were moving the ball on us. And the other thing was Thielen. Thielen was all over that field like Cooper Kupp to me.
Yeah.
And what got me was I'm sitting here saying, all right, guys, Thielen got 3, and he's wide open. Come on now, adjust. And it seemed like they weren't adjusting. And Bryce Young figured that out, and the coaches figured that out on their side. So they kept throwing to him. No matter
where he was the only one that caught the ball.
And they weren't close catches. He was open. And I'm sitting there saying, come on, guys, this could be the guy that changes the course of this game. You got to adjust. So going forward, my concern on the defense is the run game. I'm stopping the run game and a premier receiver or a tight end on another team that's at the level of Thielen, Adam Thielen, because
going in the slot,
they're going to watch film. They're going to be watching film. They're going to say, this is where Carolina exploited that defense. Yeah. This is what Thielen did exploiting it. And they weren't window passes. They were wide open passes. And Thielen came through on all of them. You better believe the Commanders are going to be looking at that film. They're going to try to exploit that run game the same way, if not even draw up some of the plays through the same holes. And whoever, McLaughlin, they're going to try to use him probably like Thielen, because I'm sure Sam Howell's going to be looking for him as his primary receiver. Or they might sit back and get one of their tight ends and say, you're going to be the antidote this week as the Adam Thielen for us. They're not going to be expecting it, but we're going to wear you out just like Bryce Young did to Thielen. If we don't adjust to those two situations that occurred in the Panthers game, it could be a long, drawn out game. And going forward past that, other teams are going to be watching for that. Everybody's looking for a weakness on each team. And I'm sure some of the teams that were sitting there watching saying, oh, they're driving down the field on them. Look at it. Oh, it's almost halftime and they still running. And Thielen, he's getting open all the time. And everybody was confused as to who's going to pick him up when I let him go, or you going to go all the way with him. So we better tighten up on that right there. But everything else about the game seemed to me was on all cylinders. Pollard was able to bust those holes like he typically does. Yeah, it's the Panthers defense, but our offensive line opened those holes. And maybe they're not a good run stop defense as much as anybody else, the Eagles and some others. Yeah. But Pollard, what we saw in Pollard is the Pollard we have when Zeke was back there, and Pollard coming through when they alternate on him. So everything else looked good. I'm concerned about those two issues.
The run defense always is something. I think the Cowboys, they've been okay. I mean, they've had moments where they've been really good, and they've had moments where they've been bad, and this was one that they've been bad. So the consistency is I want to see, because I mean, I was in the chat, Ultra said, McCaffrey had 2.7 yards against the Cowboys. Some of that could be skewed different ways. They beat the hell out of us. They didn't. I don't know. They didn't
need to. They had all those weapons.
Yeah, I mean, it's all how the game goes. The thing that I just want to see is consistency with the run defense. Yeah. And a lot of that is just going to be, I mean, that's just nature of football. That's it. Yes. Things, sometimes you have good days and bad days, but just the consistency a little bit more, I feel good with. The running game on our side, Pollard definitely had his moments where he played better. The thing with me, and I want your opinion, and definitely in the chat, because maybe I'm just not reading it right, but just as a fan, Pollard, to me, everything should be to the outside. Tosses, get him outside the tackle boxes, get him going in some space and go. And it just seems like they're hell-bent on making him run between the tackles. And then I got, Rico, I think should be the guy, should be the banger, and then loosen it up and let Pollard take it. So I just wish that maybe Rico would get, some more of the carries and get Pollard to do be the number 2, for lack of a better. I know they have 1 and 2 or whatever the hell they want to call them. I just think we're losing what made Pollard special for those years. It just doesn't seem like we're getting him outside enough to where he can kind of get rolling. But that's just my humble opinion as a Cowboys fan.
But you see what everybody else sees. I see the same exact thing. What the role that Pollard played when Zeke was there is the role we need to continue keeping him playing. And then get Dowdle in there to try to be the beast as best as he can. But what we're trying to do is fit a square peg into a round hole and make Pollard fill in where Zeke didn't. I mean, where Zeke was. And you can't do that with his size. If we keep him outside like we did and use Dowdle up the hole just like we did with Zeke, I think we would be far more successful. What you see is it's not just your opinion, it's logic. You see reality. You see what is actually going on when we change Pollard to try to make him something he's not, and we keep forcing it. You're going to get the same results. But who are we throwing to on the outside then if we're not doing it to Pollard? And then when you do throw to him on the outside, well, we're not getting much out of it because we're not doing it enough. Yeah. And I still say there's time to go out there on the wire and find somebody to bring them in. If you have to put them on the practice squad or something, somebody else in there that we can put in there as another beast, because pray tell Dowdle gets hurt. Now we're down to that one running back.
Well, you got Malik Davis he'd be your guy, or the fullback.
And the fullback, he reminds me of Moose. He doesn't remind me.
I don't remind him of Moose.
No, he doesn't remind me of Moose.
Who's that one fullback that we had back in the day? I think he was number 44, or maybe it was
Robert Newsom.
Name.
Newhouse.
No, I'm talking about recently. I'm talking like in the last, after Moose and around there. I can't remember his name. Maybe someone else. I can't remember either. But he was okay. Like I think with Lipke, everyone is you get those training camp infatuations. I mean, it's like he's Mike. Someone compared him to Mike Allstott. I just don't. Yeah. I saw Mike Allstott play living in Tampa. I've seen him a lot. I don't see him being Mike Allstott. So I'm not sold on him being the answer. Malik Davis kind of surprises me because he has the juice. Mm-hmm. Seen him do some stuff, but I don't know if he's not in the playbook. I don't know if he's fallen out of favor with the coaching staff, can't pick up the blitz. I mean, it's just protection issues, but he just doesn't seem to ever get the opportunities after you see him in preseason.
Well, Lipke, this is his first year. He's a rookie, and you got to understand that the game might be a little too fast for him right now. And in practice, everybody looks good. And in preseason, they all look good because you're playing against 4th, 5th strings. You're playing against people that are trying to make the team. Lipke, now that you're playing regular season, you're playing against the A game. Lipke, number one, is not getting that many carries because of Dowdle. And if Lipke does, we get in a big runaway game and you put Lipke in and we start featuring him, maybe you'll see what he has, get a little more confidence, get a little more experience, and then he might be better because this is just his first year. You can imagine what's going through his head, maybe a little lack of confidence, the fear of the game being too fast. It's not like college. Malik and Dowdle are, faster than him. And it's a whole lot of stuff going through his mind right now. And in practice, he doesn't have to worry about that much because nobody's going to knock him on his back in practice. Yeah. Everybody's, you're going to be your best in practice, but now you get in the game playing the ones and he's a little nervous. So he gets more time on the field, more experience. Now he's not going to be a Moose. He's not going to be an all-star, but we don't know what his future is until he gets an opportunity to get on that field. Next season, if he's still with us, and they give him more opportunities, we may start to see out of Lipke what the Cowboys saw in him when they got him. Because that 53-man roster, it was really tailored down, and Lipke didn't make that just because they needed to add another running back. Because I'm sure we got somebody in the practice squad that he plays better than. That's why he's on the 53-man's roster. So it could be confidence, lack of experience. He's a rookie. The game is a little too fast for him right now. It's a whole lot of stuff that's going on that we don't know. And Deuce Vaughn is the kind of guy, if he's in that backfield, I would use him on the outside like we use Pollard.
Yeah.
Like we were using Pollard, and I would even put Deuce Vaughn in the slot. I would
Yeah,
put him in the slot.
I might have been wrong on Deuce. I maybe the size is a big problem, but Sproles, I compared him to Sproles, and Sproles had a great NFL career. But before I jump out, we had a good comment. Mikey, he said CD was limited at practice today with an ankle injury. Hopefully, it's nothing to be concerned about. So, hopefully, that is not anything that's an issue. Again, I'm there. I'm in the upper deck. So it's hard to see the field. They don't have big screens like they do in AT&T. But CD seemed like he was playing all right. It just seemed like we weren't trying to push the ball anywhere. So he kind of was taking what he's getting. But did he get nicked up at all, or did you see anything?
I think I noticed a couple of hits that CD got, and I was worried because I saw him get up slow. Then one hit he got up hitting his helmet and shaking his head. And I said, oh, man, please don't have concussion. Please don't have a concussion because they're going to pull you out of this game. You're going to be out the next game on concussion protocol. But at the same time, if CD has an ankle issue, it's not going to keep him out that Thanksgiving game. He's going to play. But we got Tolbert. We got Gallup. We got Brandon Cooks. I mean, we got the receivers. And then the young guy, I forgot his name.
Brooks.
Brooks.
Yeah.
We got some people that can fill in that spot during this game. But what I also see is Dak has Lamb on speed dial. And the majority, when Dak's in trouble, Dak's going to Lamb. And if Dak, I don't know if it's play calling, or Dak, when he gets in the game, he's getting a play, and Tolbert's over here and Gallup's over here, or Carr comes in, he's over here. But then all of a sudden, those 3 seconds go by, and then he's like, well, let me just throw it in Lamb's direction.
Yeah.
To me, if Dak goes in the game saying, I know these folks are going to be looking for Lamb to get the ball. If Lamb's open, I'm hitting him. But you know what? I'm going to hit Tolbert. I'm going to hit Cook. I'm going to hit Gallup. And all of a sudden, now they got to play everybody. And then all of a sudden, boom, you coming back to Lamb again. We key on Lamb for good reason. But the talent is still there with Gallup.
No, I think
and
Cooks
Tolbert, they are not second stringers. So we got to start getting the ball to them. And we did throw the ball around this game a little bit better than we did 2 games ago when Cooks wasn't really featured that much.
Yeah.
Tolbert I didn't hear about, and then Gallup got 1 or 2. But we spread that ball around those receivers. Oh, man, defense is going to be – their heads are going to be turned on the swivel. Then all of a sudden, look, Pollard on the outside. And they can't catch up with that. And Dowdle, when he runs that ball, Dowdle is running like he's running for a meal.
Yes.
And he's trying to bust tackles. He's bruising some people running that ball.
Yeah. I mean, it's to your point, especially this game. I mean, they only threw for, like a couple hundred yards. I mean, Brandon Cooks was a leading receiver in yards at 42, only had 3 catches. CD had 6 catches. Ferguson, who's been like his, that's been his number 2 guy. He had 3 catches. Gallup, 3 catches. Schoonmaker made an appearance with a touchdown with 2 catches. Pollard, 4 catches.
And
Jalen would have had a couple catches, but only
he got a couple.
Yards. Turpin had 2 for 10. Dowdle had 2 for 3. So it spread the ball around, but not a lot of production. But this was, again, it was a kind of it almost just felt like a preseason game. Everything was just seemed to me was so vanilla, and it was just so. I'm not gonna get too crazy about it. I'm not gonna get too concerned and start calling for everything. But more importantly, I want to talk about something, and then we're gonna bring in Uncle Cheech and get this thing rolling. But I didn't talk about it yet. Didn't get a chance to. It happened when I was at the game. I got word of it from my son. Texted me. My brother texted me, and I didn't believe it. But Jerry Jones always has to do Jerry. And he makes sure he's gonna, we're playing the Panthers. Who cares about this game? We gotta make sure we get some attention on the Cowboys during an almost like an off week of games. Jimmy Johnson going in the Ring of Honor. I mean, I'm so excited. I was there when Miami put him in this year. I had my tickets for sale for the Lions. As soon as I got that message, I took those bad boys off. And my brother, and I, he's a Miami Hurricane fan, so he's pumped up to go. So we're gonna make the trip December 30th. He is gonna be put in the Ring of Honor, and I just thank God, Jerry. I think he finally listened to a lot of Cowboys fans and just kind of felt and maybe understood it. I mean, we're all not getting any younger. He's not getting any younger. Jimmy's not getting any younger. They're close. I mean, they had their little bickering things, but I still believe that they are close friends. I mean, Jerry was for Jimmy when he, I believe his mother passed away, mother or father passed away. He just, a bunch of food and everything showed up at his house for his family and things like that. So I know they've got a closeness. It's just one of those weird relationships. But how does it feel to get Jimmy Johnson as another guy who loved the 90s, just to see him get recognized? I think that place is going to be electric when let's see if I get the right thing right. Let me see.
And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys? Yeah!
When he's going to drop that, he's going to drop it at halftime. I mean, that stadium, when he did it when he got his Hall of Fame ring, that stadium erupted like I never heard before. I think it's going to be the same. And what's your thoughts as a Cowboys fan? And definitely in the chat too. I see a lot of people chiming in.
Well, he said that, and I was watching Fox pregame, and Jerry came on there, and Jerry and Jimmy were face to face because the panel let those two talk, and they were reminiscing, and Jerry was saying, we always agreed on the Cowboys. We agreed on everything. And then Jimmy agreed. And he said, and he kind of did it quick, says, and then we just had this little thing, but we always agreed and we were always together and blah, blah, blah. And then he kept going and kept going. And he said, on December the 30th, 1923.
I know. I thought he was trying to pull a fast one on Jimmy.
Yeah. And Jimmy corrected him. But here's the thing. I told you a long time ago before we even got on here that I've been a Dallas Cowboy fan and Miami Hurricane fan for decades. And when I was watching the Miami Hurricanes, when we were winning all those national championships, and Jimmy was and after Erickson, then Jimmy come in, and Jimmy was running team, and we were winning, and Michael Irvin and all these players on the team that were playing well, and we were winning everything. And then on Sunday, I'm watching the Cowboys, and we weren't doing that well. I used to always think about myself, man, I wish Dallas would get some of these Miami Hurricane people, and Jimmy Johnson would be a good coach for Dallas. Just in your head. A couple of years later, I hear that, Dallas, we draft Michael Irvin. I could have took my clothes off and ran down the street. I was that happy because now my cane is going to the Cowboys. And then, but 1 or 2 years later after that, Jimmy Johnson, I'm about to have a heart attack. I got the best of two worlds. And then Jimmy bought a lot of people don't know, he bought some Hurricane players with him to the Dallas Cowboys, and then they finally made that big trade with Herschel. But Jimmy being in the Ring of Honor, finally being in the Ring of Honor and we all knew it was going to happen sooner or later. It was just Jerry getting over the ego. It was an ego he had to get over. But him being in the Ring of Honor now just totally solidifies Jimmy Johnson's legacy where it should be. And now to see his name in the Ring of Honor, and now you can go to Frisco, and eventually there's going to be something display up there with Jimmy Johnson on it.
That's what pisses me off is they have a wall when you go to Frisco, and it says, "How about them Cowboys?" The whole tag. I mean, everything. Jimmy Johnson's all over Frisco. That's what always would get me mad. Is like he's all over Frisco. How's he not in the Ring of Honor?
Well, Jerry had to get over that ego, but somebody like me, that I couldn't have asked for anything more. Canes, he came from the Canes. He's in the Ring of Honor there. Now he's with the Cowboys. Look what he did for us in the Cowboys. The same thing he did for the Hurricanes, he did for the Cowboys. And when he said that and went to those playoffs, how about them Cowboys? Man, that has resonated throughout the world. That's our buzzword now. And I'm so happy for Jimmy Johnson now. When they presented him his Hall of Fame on the Fox pregame, remember how he broke down and cried?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Man, I was crying. I was in here like this. Man, because I love the man so much from what he did with Miami and then what he did with Dallas and how he did it with Dallas, man. And now it's well-deserved. And Jerry, thank you eventually for doing this, Jerry. And give Jerry some credit. The way he did it and the way he talked to Jimmy Sunday at the pregame was class. Yeah. It was definitely class.
No, I mean, I always felt they were going to, it was going to get done right. And Jerry gets a lot of heat, and we all give him a little bit of flack. I think there was a little bit of ego with it. I personally, so I'm wrong, but I think that maybe it'll happen. Maybe this breaks the curse. Is I didn't think he'd put him in until the Cowboys won a Super Bowl that was legitimately not tied to Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
Just what he did. Obviously, Michael Irvin. He got drafted. Tom Landry was another great coach, but Michael Irvin come in there, and then Jimmy come in there, like you said. I'll be honest, I was one of those kids that wrote a letter to Jerry Jones when he fired Tom Landry, and I gave him every piece that
because that was awful.
12-year-old, of the 12-year-old's mind, I let him have it. But again, I was wrong. I can always say when I was wrong, and when you start getting them Super Bowls, it was good. But it's like you said, Jimmy Johnson brought in a culture of just arrogance, swag, from the Miami.
Yes.
And he brought a lot of those Miami guys in, like the Jimmy Jones and Randy Shannon, who he was on the team for a minute.
Yes.
And then you had Darren Smith and Kevin Williams. And I mean, the tight end that we had, God, I can't remember his name. But anyway, it was so many hurricanes. And I always said, and I retweeted it because my son was like, maybe we'll get Kitchens or Williams on the Cowboys. And I said, Michael Irvin always said you can never have enough Canes on your team.
That's right.
And if you look at this team, we don't have any Canes. We don't. We had Red Wine on the training camp. He might be on the practice squad, but you got to get some Canes in here.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll get that going. But
there's a few Canes in the NFL that are still doing it. They're in the NFL. And see, I was stationed at Homestead Air Force Base down there in Homestead, Florida, during the Jimmy Johnson era. So I'm right there. And I remember the local news when Michael Irvin got drafted and he stuck his head outside the front door, screen door, when the news was there. And he's talking about, we're going to the Super Bowl. We're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He hadn't even been at one practice yet. But I was just so happy, man.
And I got my man Ultra. Ultra is like a Jimmy Johnson hater. But I'll leave it at this, because the Super Bowl 30, I've said it a million times. I've had Barry Switzer on my show, and we talked about it. Barry Switzer deserves a lot of credit, because not 500 coaches could have come in and coached this team.
That's right.
I think he had to be the right mentality. He had all his coaches were still here.
Yeah.
All the coaches were under contract, except I think was it Norv Turner that had left, and maybe Wannstedt. But you still had Butch Davis, you had Campo, you had all the guys that were there. Barry Switzer said that Jimmy Johnson, he built that team and they won those 3 Super Bowls. Even he acknowledges it. So for any fan that can't acknowledge that Jimmy Johnson was a major part of the Super Bowl 30 championship is just in denial, because your own coach of the team said it. So it is what it is. It's nothing against Barry Switzer. Like I said, I don't think we win a Super Bowl without him there maintaining and putting his ego aside and letting the coaches kind of, you run the defense, don't change nothing. Aikman, you're going to run the offense the same, don't change anything. So that was a big part of the Cowboys being able to do that. And so I just wanted to put that out there, because I still get that every now and then. So,
those that don't recognize what you're talking about, got to consider, how old were they back then? Were they too young to understand the dynamics of the NFL? And they were just, I love Dallas Cowboys, but I don't like Jimmy Johnson. Because see, I was of age, so I saw exactly what you saw. Barry basically said, I stepped out the way.
Yeah.
The team coached themselves through that Super Bowl. When Jerry brought Barry in the office, and he said, well, wait a minute, how come Jimmy isn't here? He said, what do you mean? Jimmy's no longer the coach. He said, no, you need to get Jimmy in here so I can find out why the two of you effed this up.
Exactly. And he said that on my show.
He said that. He said that. And when he took over the team, Aikman and the rest can tell you, they said Barry basically stayed out the way.
Yeah.
He let us, and the team, that's what I enjoyed about that team. The team stayed together themselves and coached themselves through getting that next championship. And that's what, man, that alone, it's almost like, okay, Barry, you're there to make sure that the structure and the coaching staff and everybody stays there, but we got this.
Yeah.
And that was Jimmy's
unfortunately, team. He didn't watch them enough.
No,
he didn't watch these players enough. They got a little out of hand.
But they did get that Super Bowl.
Yeah, and again, my same Jimmy Johnson hater says that he didn't win in the salary cap era. They're all under the same rules. What Jimmy Johnson did better than any coach, I mean, I'll put it up against any coach, is the ability, eye for talent, and being able to draft these guys. Now, he had great scouts. He had great coaches. I mean, he'd be the first to tell you. We had Dave Campo on the show. Dave Campo found Darren Woodson. They were going to look at Philippi Sparks, and Dave Campo sees this kid that he said his back was so wide, and he was a linebacker, but he was running 4.3, just crazy speed. And he said, you got to get this guy. I know we were looking at Sparks. This is the guy you got to get. They ended up getting him in the second round. I believe it was the second round. The eye for talent that they had, the motivation. I mean, read his book, talk to Jimmy Johnson. He was a psychology major. I mean, everything about him. I mean, how you can discredit anything this guy does.
I know.
Is absolutely asinine.
Yep.
I mean, he won his national championship with Miami. Dennis Erickson will tell you, 89 and 91, I mean, the foundation was built. Dennis Erickson did a phenomenal job, deserves a lot of the credit again. Jimmy Johnson, what he was able to do with talent. I mean, you could go to the Dolphins. I mean, Zach Thomas, Hall of Famer. Jason Taylor, Hall of Famer. He just had an eye for talent. Unfortunately, with the Dolphins, he had an aging quarterback. And I was down in Miami at the time, I can promise you. An aging quarterback. You weren't getting rid of Marino. They still wear Marino jerseys to this day in the stadium. All the time. That's a dominant jersey for the Dolphins. You ain't pushing him out of the way. So it was but it's so nice to finally get him in there, man.
It is.
Really good.
And next time I go to Frisco, one of the first places I'm going to is the Jimmy Johnson, whatever icon or something they got set up there for Jimmy Johnson. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going there first. And I'm gonna take a Miami Hurricane jersey with me.
There you go.
You never know. You never know.
We're gonna get in a little use. So Jimmy Johnson well deserves it, but now we've got to get in and just change it up because Uncle Cheech is here. Any guys know, you follow the show, you love the show, you know Uncle Cheech brings it. He's been having a little bit of trouble. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what's going on, but we're going to get this thing figured out. He's still got a very nice record. He's still a plus in the Vegas. He's still way above those other, idiots in Fox and ESPN. He outperforms them all the time, but let's get Uncle Cheech in here and let's have some fun here. Hold on one sec. Let's get this thing right. All right. Well, now we got Uncle Cheech in the house. Uncle Cheech, hopefully you know Greg. He's a fellow Cane.
How you doing, Cheech?
Good man.
So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into your picks, but since we got Greg on, we got three Canes here, so we just talk about the Cane situation. I mean, how disappointed are you in this season, or are you going to be patient? You say, hey man, we got to give Cristobal his opportunity.
I'm not disappointed at all. When he came there, he said he had a 5-year plan, just like Schnellenberger did. It's only his second year.
I don't have 5 years.
Well, I don't either. I'm 72 years old.
Yeah, Cheech, but you'll be around.
I see big improvement from last year. You got to remember, a 5-year plan, you're going to have a whole different team. You're going to have these freshmen are going to be juniors.
Yeah.
Seniors. That's what he's talking about. A lot of these guys that are starting now aren't even going to be on the team. And we could have won that game. We could have won the Florida State game. We're still last year. What were we? 5-7.
Yeah, something like that.
We should win Saturday. We'd be 7-5, whatever, with a little bowl game. But you see improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Blame the coach for everything. The coach didn't. He wasn't out there when the two defenders ran into each other, and the guy caught the ball and ran it down the field.
Yeah.
No, I know. Our Canes are taking a beat, and someone said the Ultra said they need to be in Division III.
As a media. Anyhow, I was 1-2, and I had one push, but my lock won. That's most important.
Yeah. Well, let me get this stuff in here. Hold on a second. I had it and we lost it. Let me get it on here and get that on. Hopefully I got the right one. We get Uncle Cheech here. So you're at 56%, still doing good. You're 75% on your lock. So, I mean, you're definitely hitting it on there. This is a big weekend. You got some rivalry games. So What do you got? It looks like you're doing Auburn and Alabama. Well, give me the story.
Okay, I'm going to take Alabama minus 14.5. They're going to kill Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn was 21-point favorite against who they played that week? New Mexico.
Oh, they played. That was
UTSA.
Yeah.
And they got bombed.
Yep.
Alabama still had the chance, and they know they still got a chance to get in the playoff.
Yep.
Yeah.
They win this game, they're going to play for the SEC championship. They beat Georgia, they're in. They lose, they're out. But I'll take Alabama all day. Even though Auburn's a tough place at night, I'll take Alabama.
Yeah, they look bad.
Yeah.
Let me ask both you guys. We don't like Florida State, but we respect them, right? I think we have a respect for rivalry. You saw what happened with Travis, a quarterback. I mean, just horrific. You hate to see that in a game. I had this conversation this weekend with Doug, and I were talking about, and actually it was water cooler talk too. Do you think if they went out and they beat Louisville, they beat Florida, do you think they're still going to push them out of the playoffs because they know they don't have a quarterback?
I don't think they should be pushed out.
No, me neither.
If they're going to be 11-0,
because they already moved them down. Now they're fifth. They dropped a spot.
Yeah, these people. I don't. If they went out, they should go. My opinion.
Yeah.
They should go.
Yeah. See, the problem I have with them moving them out. Yeah, I'm not a big Florida State fan. Shout out to my cousin Dexter Henderson, diehard Florida State fan. He was at the game. But if they went where they at now, they won the game. And then if they win this next game, they win this last game, they win this last game, they should still be ranked where they are. At the lowest, I'd put them back down at 4. I wouldn't put them out of it just because Travis is out. Because if you're winning, you're winning. And this quarterback that came in, he played pretty decent considering who they're playing. Now, if they win the ACC, there's no way in the world that you should be putting them lower than 4. They should still be in the playoffs. But
I agree, they're conference champions.
Yep, I always say this because a lot of my family lives in Birmingham, and I got a lot of friends that are Alabama fans, and I always tell them every year, Alabama can be ranked number 20. The NCAA is going to find a way, scandal or otherwise, to get Alabama in the playoffs. And by putting them down number 5 because Travis is gone, but they haven't lost a game yet since Travis been gone, that's foul. They still got another week to wait to see if Florida State loses and then to pull them out. But you pull them out already because you assume now that Travis gone, they won't be as tough. They're still winning.
Yeah.
But they're trying to find a way. They're going to find a way to pry Alabama in there. I guarantee you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't disagree. And I think the other one that's funny is Ohio State. Ohio State didn't play. Michigan played. Michigan won. Ohio State jumped them. Now, obviously, they're playing this weekend. So, I mean, that'll work itself out. But you wonder if they're kind of stacking the deck to make sure that, hey, you don't drop too far. I don't know. I just got this funny feeling that Florida State is going to be on the outside looking in. If they win, obviously, if they lose, it don't matter.
Yeah.
But if they win out.
If they win out, they shouldn't be. The conference champions if they win out.
That's right. That's right.
Conference champions.
That's right.
All right. So you're not. What's your next game on the list here? We got the Dolphins and the Jets. What are you feeling on this one? They made a change at quarterback with the Jets.
The Jets. This will be murder, I tell you. I'll take the Dolphins minus 7.5. I don't care where they play the game. I know the Jets got a good defense, but no chance.
Now,
yeah, you
no chance.
Yeah, you know they're benching Zach Wilson this weekend. He's going to be the third string quarterback.
That's right.
But you're right, Cheech. I don't think it's going to make a difference.
No. So that leads us to the your upset of the week. So you're thinking it ain't going to much matter unless you think it's going to be close. But your upset of the week is Florida State and Florida, and you're taking Florida plus 6.5.
Plus 6.5. They're both got new quarterbacks. Florida's quarterback got hurt too.
Yep. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did.
Too. I think Florida State will probably win the game, but it'll be close. I think it'll cover.
Yeah.
But we'll see if Florida State, if they beat them handily. I mean, Swamp ain't an easy place to play.
That's right.
No. And I think that would answer all the questions, especially if they beat Louisville.
And it's a big rivalry, so
it's a rivalry game too, but
Yeah.
we'll see. I wouldn't bet on that one.
No, that's for entertainment. That one's for entertainment purposes only. So now this is where the money's at. This is where everyone's making their money with Uncle Cheech. You got the Packers, you got the Lions laying 7.5. Lions had their hands full with the Chicago Bears this past weekend. So, but you got them handling the business
But
against.
they turned the ball over 3 times. I don't think,
Mm-hmm.
and they still managed to win the game.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. I had Houston. They turned the ball over 3 times too, which cost them not to cover, but they still won the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that don't get you that cup of coffee. So I think Detroit will play better. They're at home again. I think they'll cover. That'll be my lock.
And this is Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Detroit know the whole world is watching them. And golf, golf know what he did.
Watch the Green Bay game. They play San Diego Chargers.
They can't. They beat the Chargers.
Look at all the drop balls they had.
Yeah.
I mean, they beat themselves.
Yep.
I mean, they got a great quarterback, and I think the coach might be saying sayonara soon.
Yeah, he might be.
About that today, if Belichick goes, he might go there. That coach might go goodbye.
Yeah.
That would be the best spot for him because he's got
a great quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, he's solid. So, Uncle Cheech, have you done any research? We got a big game tonight. Obviously, you got Kansas City, the Super Bowl rematch. You got Philly going into KC. The spread was what, 1.5 or 2?
Yeah, it's raining. Last time I checked, it was raining pretty good. Kansas City. I'll still take Kansas City.
I hope you're right.
The hell of it. I mean, they're the home team. And in a rematch, I think they put up a stat that the Super Bowl champions won 6 out of 8 when they played again in the following year in the regular season.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
Well, that's the kind of insight we're looking for, and that's what you only get with Uncle Cheech, that kind of knowledge that he drops. That pretty much that's a sure win. Kansas City, go ahead and put your house payment on that.
There's turnovers, anything can happen, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I'll still take Kansas City in this game. But.
Yeah. Well, I told.
I'm glad you got another Canes fan on here.
Well, I was just Uncle Cheech. I was telling. We're gonna do a Canes roundtable. I'm gonna talk to Shelton.
Hey, Cheech, do you remember back in the 80s, like 81 to 83? There was a wide receiver named Jim Joyner, number 13, when Jim Kelly was the quarterback, and Jim Joyner was his number 1 receiver. That's my cousin. Yeah, Jim Joyner.
Canes through and through.
They won the Peach Bowl back then too.
I'll tell you, when my dad was bookmaking down there, before the Hurricanes were even relevant at any point, everybody used to bet on Miami, even though they were going to get killed, but they'd always cover.
Yeah.
So everybody, they used to always bet on Miami. That's how I got into them a lot, because then finally when they decided to build a respectable team, when they brought Howard in, then I really became a big fan. So, but they always covered the spread back then. My dad used to hate when people used to call up and give me Miami and the points.
That's who Jim played with, Schnellenberger. He played for Schnellenberger.
Yeah. Jim Kelly's. Yeah, that's what
Jim Joyner. Jim Joyner played with.
Yeah, because he would have.
Yeah, he played with Schnellenberger.
The Hurricanes' future, I think. Everybody's ripping the coach and this and that, but he said 5-year plan. Nobody bitched about. We're going to go over this again. Nobody bitched about Butch more than me.
Yeah.
Taking Big Paul D to lunch all the time, trying to get him to fire him. And you know that man. If you seen Paul D, you know we could put some groceries away.
Well, I tell you, I don't know if it was Uncle Cheech who did this, but I was at a game, and they used to fly the helicopter or the plane around with a sign, and it said, "From champs to chumps, thanks Butch." Now, I don't know.
I remember. I saw like a documentary about that. Yeah.
Well, if people watch the documentary of you, which I'm sure you've seen, I've seen them 50 times. Schnellenberger said 5-year plan, got to try to keep the kids home. This guy really been recruiting well. And now that you have the portal, he's bringing in a lot of good players.
Yep.
And the kid that got hurt, he's a freshman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he lives. Check this out. He lives 30 minutes down the road from me in Milton, Florida. I'm in the bar.
Milton. I know Milton.
Milton, yeah. He live. This is where he's from, Milton. He lives 30 minutes down the road.
Well, go check on him and make sure he's all right.
I was going to say I might have to make a drive down there and go check on him.
I told him he didn't hurt that game, but
no, that was a shame.
Yeah, that was sad. That was sad.
Didn't want
but
to
he's
see
our
it.
future. He's our future.
No, absolutely. I think the future's bright. So
yeah.
Oh, they got the running backs. They got a stable there. That big dude, he's only a freshman.
Yep.
Freshman.
Yep.
They've got this. They've always had the skilled positions, and we're going to talk about it. I told Greg we're going to do a Kane show. Going to get Shelton, who you met. We're going to get him on there. Maybe talk to Malik, and we'll invite you, Uncle Cheech, and we're going to have a Canes roundtable and see if we can figure this thing out and give us some hope because we got a good schedule. We open at Florida. So your boy, we're going to be there. Hopefully you can make it, Uncle Cheech. I don't know if you're going to be able to make it, Greg.
Well, if I'm not dead, I'll be there. Because that's going to tell the story day one. I mean, they're going to have a tough road game.
Yeah.
If Gainesville, right?
Yep.
Yep.
If they get by that game, Florida's never a pushover.
No, they're not. They're not.
Especially on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, in Gainesville there. So.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, we'll see. Well, I appreciate it, Cheech. Thank you for popping in.
Hey, it was nice meeting you. Hope to see
Good to see you again, Cheech.
All right, take care, guys.
All
I'm
right.
going to watch the game now.
All right, take care.
All right.
All about the you. Oh, that's always good to get Uncle Cheech on there.
Yeah.
Brings it. And he loves his Canes. I've been to a million games, always see him down there, and he loves his beloved Canes. So I know it hurts him when they're not winning that national championship. But I always say the Canes and the Cowboys, it just seems like they run in parallel.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot of hope and disappointment. So you see where the team's at now. I don't know about you. The schedule and the record is exactly how I had them. Now the losses were a little bit different, but I had them with the 3 losses at this point.
Yeah.
Are they meeting your expectations? Is this kind of the Cowboys team you thought you'd see? Are they better? Are they worse? What's your thoughts on the Cowboys so far?
I expected the Cowboys to lose maybe overall after 17 weeks, no more than 3 games.
Okay.
No more than 3. But I really expected them to beat Philly. I think we had everything, the momentum, the mindset. We were ready. I know Philly was on their heels. I know they know that was and like some people say, frankly speaking, we beat them.
Yeah.
Because we're on the 6-yard line, 4 downs. And all we do is back up and back up and back up. Mm-hmm. And then they get the ball, and it's like, oh, the game's over. They're going to run the clock out. We get it back. So everything we needed to do to win that game, we put ourselves in that position to win because it was like a chess match. But at the end, we couldn't close. We couldn't finish. And we got to be able to do that the rest of the way. When we get in those positions the rest of the way, we got to do that. We got Buffalo. And they talk about Buffalo all you want. We go to Buffalo. It's going to be cold.
It'll be cold.
Cowboys are not used to playing in that cold. I remember when who was that? Parcells. Who was after Parcells?
You had Garrett was after Parcells. Or no, the what's his name? Bum's son, Phillips.
Yeah. Well, no, this was Parcells. It wasn't Phillips.
No.
Parcells said I remember they went to Chicago. They were coming out the tunnel for the beginning of the game. Parcells said, I looked at the boys coming out the tunnel. I said, oh no, they scared.
Yeah, I was at that game. We got the shit beat out of us.
And one of the Chicago players had mentioned on television said he was in the tunnel. He was in the tunnel when they come out for practice. And one of the Cowboys came out there and he was like, man, it's too cold out here. And went back in. He said, I knew right then we had them. Because, Chicago, I've been up there at Chicago Stadium.
No, I know the game. If you're talking about that game, it was the coldest game in Soldier Field. It was a Sunday night game, and we got annihilated. I've never been to a cold game. I'll never go to another game in cold weather. No interest in it. It's no fun.
That's not. And the one time I went, I almost got frostbite because I didn't wear the right clothes.
Yeah.
You don't wear regular coats and stuff. You wear polar bear clothes up there in Chicago.
I walked out off the plane in sneakers, jeans, and a sweatshirt. And my buddy who was living in Chicago, he's like, "You ain't gonna make it, my man.
No, you're not gonna make it."
I had to buy heaters, I had to buy boots, I had big gloves, and all this. It was so numb, I couldn't even use my phone to dial anyone because my hand. There was no feeling. It was just, you don't know how, now Buffalo's not playing well. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's no gimme. Miami's not going to be a gimme. Philly's no gimme, but I'll say, and I'm not trying to be overconfident. I think we beat them, and I think we beat them going away. I don't think it's going to be that close in Dallas. And maybe I'm crazy, but I saw that game in Philly, and they don't scare me at all.
They don't.
I think we're gonna handle them. Of course, we got games ahead of that, before that, so we won't get too deep into it. But I just think the Cowboys are kind of where I thought they were.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles' record is better than I thought it would be. I thought they were going to struggle a little bit more.
Yeah,
they have, but they found ways to win to their credit.
Yeah.
So
I agree with you on that.
I said that the Eagles, when we play them, we have to when we beat them, we got to be a game or two up because of it. If we're playing them for the tie, if you look at our schedule and their schedule, I think we're in trouble. I don't think we're going to win the division. Now that don't mean anything because the playoffs, it's all about who you're playing.
Right.
But I think it'd make me very happy if I see Philly lose tonight. And then they've got to go. They play. Do they? They
got Buffalo. Buffalo.
At Buffalo, though, right? Isn't it at Buffalo? Buffalo?
I don't know if it's at Buffalo or not, but I know they play Buffalo. They got Seattle. They got
Seattle's on the road for them. Seattle's on the road for them.
Yeah, they play the 49ers.
Yeah.
And then I think they got the Giants and the Commanders. But those Buffalo, Seattle, and the 49ers, those are going to be 3 games right there that we win from this point out. They lose a couple more of those games. We beat them and we outscore them like more than they did in this first game.
Yeah,
we got a chance to take that division. But it's in our hands. We win out. There's a strong possibility that game is going to come down to who's going to take the division.
Yeah,
that's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah,
but we have to go to Buffalo and win.
Yeah, no, we got to jump ahead. So
and no more slip ups like the Cardinals.
No, we don't. We don't want to talk about that. But I know the Monday night game is going to be going, so I wanted to make sure we get off in time. So we said try to keep it to an hour. But hey, again, Cowboys Nation, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, share. We'll have a special show tomorrow, Tuesday, because Thanksgiving. We're having our giveaway. We're giving away that custom cut. I'll show one more time. All you got to do is be live. Or you can send a message to Kelly showing you're subscribed, and we're going to put you in the drawing. We're going to have a live drawing, and someone's going to win the cut of their choice of the 2 for the Cowboys. Looks good in any cave. I got one. Yep. You got to have one in the cave, and my man does great work. So we're going to be doing that. So make sure you check us out tomorrow. Going to be 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. We'll probably have a crew popping in. We'll have some fun. Get things going, get you ready for Washington and have a great time. But Greg, it's always, you bring the hype. I don't know if you and I got in the same room dropping hype. I don't know what the hell would happen to the internet. We'd probably break it, but you definitely bring the passion. It's always great having you on the show. I love all your stuff, all your content. You do great things. So
thank you.
I can't thank you enough for coming in and hanging with me for an hour.
Well, look, anytime, Mike. I love it. Like I told you when I first met you, I saw you years ago. And then when you called and I saw your video, I said, I've seen that guy before. But let me tell you something, Cowboys Nation. Thanksgiving is this week. The world, when I say the world, I mean it. The world will be watching the Dallas Cowboys play the Washington Commanders. And if you know me on my TikTok, Gregory Girard 146, you know I'm going to be dressed in the uniform of the Cowboys because they're wearing an alternate uniform for this game. And we are cooking a turducken, the John Madden turducken at the house again. So my video is going to include that turducken. I'm going to be dressed to the 9. And all I got to say is, if they need me, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. And Cowboys Nation, you better suit up, you better gear up, and you better be ready for that game. Drink up, eat up, whatever you do. Don't let the tryptophan put you to sleep because you don't want to miss the Cowboys show. We are going to beat Washington on Thanksgiving Day, and it's going to be crazy.
No, we're going to have a good time, man, and you're going to bring it. We'll have a little video too, so you're going to get a lot of good content. And I was going to tell everyone tomorrow, but I'll tease a little bit. There's going to be a special appearance in the video. There's going to be a special appearance. I'm not going to say nothing, but there's going to be something special might be happening on Thursday when we drop that video on Thanksgiving Day. But until then, I hope to see all of you guys out here tomorrow night on the show. We want to have a great turnout because we want to give this thing away. We want to have a lot of fun. And more importantly, everyone in Carolina that I had a chance to meet, had to talk to, thank you again. You guys, Cowboys Nation, I always say I'm not a big social media guy, but the social media, the best part about it is meeting everyone and people like Greg. Honestly, Greg, I probably never would have met you.
That's right.
Social media. So it's the best part about it. Cowboys Nation's family. I saw so many just great people in Carolina. So we're going to do it again. Your boy's going to be back out. We've got, what do we got? We got Seattle. We got Philly. Now I'm doing Detroit. So
Buffalo.
I'm talking about where I'm going. Those are three wins.
Okay.
Those are 3 wins.
Okay.
Where I go, we win. We never lose when I go to the games. That's just the way it works.
Keep going. Keep going.
Cowboys know better. I'm not going up to Buffalo. I told you, no cold for me. No cold for me. So, Cowboys Nation, I will leave you with this. Again, appreciate it. Hope to see you guys out tomorrow night. You guys take care.
How about that?
Take it over. Yeah. Take it, Billy.